Hopefully you've seen my previous video about this bench that I made, where I promised to go into more detail about which tools I used to make it. It's all in there, but this will give you the short version if you don't want to watch the whole carving process. When it comes to PPE, YouTube makes me check that this is not for kids, so I'll just assume that you're responsible adults and can make your own decisions about that. And anyway, if you want to go deaf or blind, me telling you not to isn't going to change that. The first tool, obviously, is the chainsaw. I don't care what brand or size, but I did care a lot about it being electric. Now, it's been about 1,000 years since I've used a gas chainsaw, so I don't really have any point of comparison when it comes to power. But for this, I really didn't care about power that much. The reason to use an electric chainsaw, aside from lower upfront costs, lower maintenance, lower running costs, and ease of starting, is there's no exhaust. And that means I can use it indoors without a respirator. The chainsaw let me square the log and get the rough shape cut out. We've all seen people do full carvings with nothing but chainsaws, and more power to them. That's just not me. After the chainsaw, I used a corded grinder with a graph speed cutter disc on it. This is a 4.5-inch saw blade with 3 cobalt tungsten alloy teeth. They claim that it makes it last a really long time. This thing flings chunks. It's great to use for rough shaping that needs more precision than you get with the chainsaw. At the same time, I also used a corded power planer. The speed cutter is great for really hogging out material, and then you go to the power planer to clean up any of the cup-shaped grooves that the speed cutter leaves behind and get them relatively flat. On all the surfaces I could, I used my cordless router planer because I don't have a corded router. And while I did chew through the batteries, I was able to keep a 3 battery charging rotation going. Anytime the charging lag behind, I just took a few extra minutes to clean. I'll be doing a separate dedicated video just about how much more versatile a router planer setup can be than most YouTubers give them credit for, so check back for that in the next few days. The next step for most YouTubers is to go to the Sabertooth, the King Arthur's, Arbitech, or Kutzall power carving discs. I can't afford those, and I already had another option that I found worked really well. This is a Walter 5-inch backing pad, and I found it when I was looking for an economic option for grinding all the old rust and paint off my trailer base. It attaches to your grinder just like any other backing pad, with the main difference being the grits available for this style versus hook and loop. Also, this was $17 instead of $47. With the discs themselves only costing between $1 to $3 depending on the grit, that's a lot of discs I could get for that $30 difference. Also, the lowest disc I could find for a hook and loop system was 60 compared to the 24 and 50 grit discs I have here. The 24 grit disc can still be used for a fair amount of actual shaping and carving rather than just sanding, and the 50 gets you smooth enough that you can move on to the orbital sander. When I sanded this, I didn't bother wearing a mask because I could hook it up to some pretty hefty dust collection, which I strongly recommend. If not for your lungs, then for how much time you'll save in cleanup. Seriously, take the time to clutch together whatever adapter you need for your sander to hook up to your shop vac. Mine needed packing tape. And that's it. I tried to make this video as to the point as I could while still giving you much more cost-efficient options than what you're typically going to see.